Hello YouTube, how's it going? This is the Crossover and I'm back with another video. Today is going to be the first installment of a new mini-series on the channel where I break down my 2023 Big Board 1.0 from players 30 to 1. The mini-series is going to consist of 3 different videos. They're going to be coming out weekly, and in each video I'm going to be covering 10 players on my Big Board. So for example, today's video is going to be picks or players 30 to 21. Next week's video is going to be players 20 to 11, and then the final video is going to be players 10 through 1. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. Moving on to the first player we are going to be covering in my big board. At number 30, I have Iowa wing Kris Murray. Now, Kris Murray is the younger brother to the 4th overall pick in last year's draft, Keegan Murray, and they're relatively identical players, both from a physical profile perspective. You know, Kris is 6 feet 8 inches, weighs about 225 pounds, and is a 6 feet 11 inch wingspan. So, you know, pretty similar physical profile to his brother. However, they both play similarly as well. You know, both thrive on the defensive side of the floor with their versatility, and they both thrive on the offensive side of the floor in terms of being able to score without the ball in their hands in multiple ways. You know, Kris Murray more so thrives as a shooter than Keegan, and I think Keegan does a little bit better with the ball in his hands and making things happen. However, Kris Murray is a knockdown three-point shooter, hyper efficient from everywhere on the floor, but he really shines as a three-point shooter. You know, he's a lefty. I think the elevation on the shot is a little bit low. I'd like to see him get up, have that release be a little bit higher, but hey, it works for him. Again, he's a lefty. He can knock down threes in a multitude of ways, coming off screens, off pick and pops, off spot ups. He could just hurt you in a multitude of different ways. You know, considering the opportunity that is going to be there for him to really take over this Iowa offense, considering the fact that his brother is now a Sacramento King, I'm really expecting Keegan Murray to take a step forward in terms of his ability to create his own shot. And even if he doesn't, you know, just with the skill set that he already has, I can see Keegan Murray being a surefire, you know, late end first round pick. Moving on to number 29, I have USC combo guard / wing Trey White. Now, Trey White is a very interesting prospect considering the fact that I don't really see hardly anyone talking about him, and I quite frankly, I don't understand why. Trey White is a 6'7" guard, really a combo guard, weighs about 210 pounds and has a 6'9" wingspan. He carries those 210 pounds well, you know, has a lot of muscle on that frame. And what I really love about Trey White is just his motor. You know, when you watch his prolific prep film, you know, he just stands out for just how hard he plays on the court consistently all the time. Such an impressive prospect defensively, can really lock in and can really shut down nearly anybody in the country. You know, he was matched up against Grady Dick, who was the player of the year last year, best scorer in the country, and he limited Grady Dick to under 3. I don't even think Grady Dick barely touched the ball when Trey White was guarding him. That's how good Trey White was doing of a job defensively on him. And then on the offensive side of the floor, he has a solid handle. I think the jump shot is a little bit of a work in progress, but he's really confident. Has a knock for hitting big time shots, and I think that's all things that are going to translate very well to the next level. And I can really see Trey White having a very impressive and under the radar freshman year at USC. Moving on to number 28, I have Duke big man / forward Kyle FILIPOWSKI. Kyle FILIPOWSKI is another very interesting prospect in terms of his skill set at his size, right? He's 6'11", 220 pounds, has a 6'11" wingspan. You like to see it be a little bigger. However, he makes up for what he lacks in terms of athleticism or you know, plus intangibles with his skill set. You know, smooth jump shooter, as you guys just saw there. He can handle the ball a little bit. Nice playmaker, especially when attacking the basket and out the short roll. And again, just with his offensive skill set alone at 6'7", you know, you see this pass right here. You know, he does a great job hitting his teammates. I can really see him flourishing at Duke, but the defense and the athleticism is definitely a concern for me, and that's the reason why he is only 28 on my big board. Coming in at number 27, I have Houston guard Marcus Sasser. Now, Marcus Sasser has a very interesting story. While he was on the court 2 seasons ago now, he was one of the most dominant collegiate guards in the country. He was also dominant last season. However, he missed a majority of it due to a foot injury. However, that did not stop him from still showing his scoring prowess while he was on the court, not only in the college level, but also during the draft combine. He decided to come back to Houston for another year, I guess to really solidify himself as a first-round talent, which I believe to be you know, his proper value. You know, Marcus Sasser is right now the best shooter in this class, bar none. Hyper efficient from behind the arc, you know, both on and off the ball. Solid mid-range scorer as well. Solid defender as well. You know, 6'2", only 195 pounds, but he carries that weight well. pretty quick as well, has a 6'7" wingspan. He really gets after it on the defensive side of the floor. This whole Houston team does really, and his main calling card is going to be being a 3-point shot creating guard off the bench at the NBA level. And if you can get that out the 27th pick, I think you definitely have yourself a win there. Coming in at number 26, I have Gonzaga wing/forward Julian STRAWTHER. Now, Julian STRAWTHER is a case of opportunity. He's thrived the past couple seasons at Gonzaga as kind of a 3-and-D role player, right? Being a spot-up guy for guys like Jalen Suggs or Nolan Hickman, Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme, a guy who plays solid defense. He stands at about 6'7", so you can guard multiple positions. Weighs about 205 pounds. Only has a 6'9" wingspan, but he makes up for that with his effort on the defensive side of the floor and as well as his shooting prowess. And I think he's going to really break out this upcoming season, just given the opportunity that's going to be there for him on this roster. Outside of guys like Drew Timme and like Nolan Hickman, there's not going to be a lot of ball handling on this team, right? So I'm really expecting Julian STRAWTHER to take a leap in terms of his self-creation, and I think he definitely has the talent and the capability to do that. And if all breaks well for him, I could see him being a first-round talent, or really solidify himself as a first-round talent on the consensus big board. Moving on to number 25, I have Alabama wing Brandon Miller. Now, Brandon Miller is one of the hardest players I had, or one of the players that gave me the most difficulty in terms of where to rank them on my big board. He stands at about 6'8", weighs about 200 pounds, has about a 7'1" wingspan. However, just with his skill set alone, I mean, he's just such a tantalizing prospect in terms of just with his athleticism. He has a little bit of ball handling and playmaking. He has some of that pseudo point forward in his game. Has shown flashes of being a shot creator as well. The defense has shown flashes as well throughout his high school tape. The only thing with Brandon Miller is just his consistency with everything, right? Again, everything is flashes with Brandon Miller, but I think he really needs to have a season where he can put together, if he could put together, one or two aspects of his game in terms of, just flashing him being, this complete point forward that can create his own shot. If he can put together just some of those traits, I think we're looking at a surefire first-round pick, in my opinion. But he's gonna have to put together, some of the parts of his game that he has flashed. Moving on to number 24, I have Dayton center DARON Holmes. Now, DARON Holmes is my favorite returning center in this class. He stands at about 6 feet 10 inches, weighs about 220 pounds, and has a 7'1" wingspan. I really like what DARON Holmes brings to Dayton on the defensive side of the floor in terms of not only his rim protection, but what he can provide on the perimeter as well. For a possession or two, he's shown the ability to come up to the level of the ball screen and kind of shut down the opposing guard for a possession or two, which is extremely valuable considering today's NBA. We really covet versatility out of our big men. So to see flashes like that from DARON Holmes is very impressive. On the offensive side of the floor, he's not really going to be giving you too much outside of rim running and some vertical spacing at the dunker spot. However, you don't really need him to do all that much. He's your traditional center with some modern versatility in his game, and really that's all you need out of a big man, ranged from 30 to 20. Moving on to number 23, I have Kentucky combo guard / wing Kris Livingston. Now, Kris Livingston is a very intriguing prospect and another prospect similar to Brandon Miller that I had a little bit of difficulty in terms of where to rank him. However, I landed on 23. He stands at about 6 feet 7 inches, weighs about 210 pounds, and has a 6'10" wingspan. Even though he only weighs 200 pounds, he carries that rate really well. Big-bodied wing. With just such a smooth offensive game, right? He can handle the ball, has a nice pull-up game, gets to his spots very efficiently, and I expect him to be a very solid three-point shooter. As you guys can see here, has a very solid stroke, very solid, smooth form, high elevation on that jump shot, holds the shot. I really like Kris Livingston overall. I would like to, he leaves a little bit to be desired on the defensive side of the floor. We'll see how that part of his game looks at Kentucky, but I really expect him to flourish alongside another guard that we'll be talking about in a little bit, and all the talent that is on this Kentucky Wildcat roster this season. Moving on to number 22, I have Florida State wing Matthew Cleveland. Now, Matthew Cleveland is one of the more interesting returning sophomores in the country. Stands at about 6 feet 7 inches, weighs about 200 pounds, and has a 6 feet 9 inch wingspan. Was originally supposed to be a one and done. However, he had a relatively underwhelming season at FSU. Didn't really play all that much, and some of the holes in his game were just so glaring that it just served all parties best if he just came back to FSU, really worked on his jump shot, which is really the swing swing skill in his game. You know, he's a big-bodied wing, has some ball handling, does a really good job attacking the basket off the catch. Very lanky, even though he only has a 6'9" wingspan. He doesn't really look like it when he is playing. You know, it seems like he can just reach up and grab the rim from around the block at times. He's had some dunks where he kind of just leaps off the page and he just looks a lot longer than he is. You know, the defense is a bit of a work in progress, but I like some of the effort that he has shown, some of the versatility that he has displayed both on and off the ball defensively. And then on the offense side of the floor, again, does a great job attacking off the catch. Right, you know, ripping one-two dribbles and getting to the rim. The pull-up jump shot is a work in progress. However, I like the form. He has a nice high elevation on his shot, and I feel like if he gets that three-point shot down and gets that percentage up to, you know, the mid-30s, we could be looking at an easy first-round pick in this year's draft. Moving on to number 21, I have Kentucky guard Cason Wallace. Now, Cason Wallace is a prospect that I am a little bit lower on compared to the general consensus. You usually see him amongst the top 15. However, that's not to say that I don't like him. I think he's a great prospect. Only going to be 19 by the time the draft comes around. Stands at about 6 feet 4 inches, weighs about 185 pounds, and has a 6 feet 7 inch wingspan. You know, plus physical profile for a guard. Good size, good wingspan, carries the weight well. Pretty athletic for a guy his size, right? Really gets after it on both sides of the floor. I think his defensive game was really impresses me the most. Really utilizes that wingspan to pick off passing lanes. Really gets after it on ball. Just is going to be such a force on that end at Kentucky. And then on the offensive side of the floor, just a solid all-around guard, right? Does a good job running pick and rolls, getting his teammates involved, hitting the big man. Solid jump shooter. The form is, there's not really anything to complain about. It's a solid form. Gets good elevation, high extension on that shot, and then solid rebounder. Does a good job scoring without the ball in his hands, right? Just such a solid all-around point guard prospect. The reason why I'm a little bit lower on Cason Wallace is just because I have concerns about how high his ceiling is, right? He's just like this solid all-around player, but it's nothing that really like pops out about him. And you know, maybe what I could see causing him to, you know, be a lottery pick this upcoming year is just if he's just solid at everything, and then the defense, he's just so good on the defensive side of the floor that propels him to being a lottery pick. That's how I envision his path to moving up higher on my big board would be. But for now, I have him at 21, and that's not to say he can't move up on my big board come draft day. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the first part of my 2023 big board down below in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys agree with, what you guys disagree with. But aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, please share the video with a friend. I want to keep growing the channel, keep growing the community that we have here. And so stay on the lookout for the second part of my big board covering picks 20 through 11 next week. However, again, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And have a blessed day and take care. Peace.